Kevin Garnett says that the Knicks saved basketball.
You know what I love about the in-season tournament, P? Where would your young team like the Spurs get this kind of significant?
Yeah, they need
like
that.
This is gonna help them, bro. I bet you any type of money, this gonna help them first round.
Yeah,
because in the spirit of this, you had to win one game.
Right.
Everybody had to be great for one game. Y'all beat OKC. That momentum coming into here.
Yeah.
And then I saw Wemby kind of take it over, and then I saw Brunson. I saw him alpha the game. I saw him start fourth quarter. It was all him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What did it look like, bro?
That's exactly what it looked like. It looked like a team that needs to be in these type of these moments. Like you said, San Antonio is what I'm talking about. They ain't been in no big moments.
None.
This is this is the biggest moment they've ever been in.
Facts.
Literally
watching them grow up in front of us. Yeah.
Something on the line, something to play for. Bright lights, everybody watching.
Picking up their levels, defense. They got turnovers. They played at another level, bro.
Yeah. And then it just the experience kicked in for the Knicks, who's been deep playoff runs, who's multiple playoffs, so this
had to hit buzzer beaters, had to, come down and get a bucket, right?
Yeah, so this was good for
the league, man.
For the league, it was good for San Antonio.
You think we need this type of jolt right before Christmas game? You think this type of jolt for the league helps?
Yeah, you got the Christmas games coming up.
You
always say it's going to be certain games on the calendar that get you ready for the playoffs. And when you make it to the in-season tournament championship, this is one of those games.
That's all I had to hear to get inspired. A little bachata moon real quick. G was speaking to the Knicks NBA Cup saving basketball or the ratings or leading into the Christmas games. That's a very, very significant thing because the Christmas games are now going to go up against the football Christmas games, which is on Netflix, right? Netflix is competing, throwing top dollars out there. And going into this season, all we've ever heard about was how the NBA ratings are so bad and this, that, and the third. And then all of a sudden, the money came out. The money alert came out for the NBA. Ian Begley reports, NBA says it's had more than 87 million viewers in U.S. this season across NBC, Peacock, ESPN, Amazon Prime, Prime Video, and NBA TV. The most viewers in 15 years and up 89% versus last year. Obviously, streaming platforms have given league better audience. I'm interested to know how streaming audience is counted, reported. Ian Begley. Bueno. The reporter himself, he works for SNY. He does a good job. We shouted him out because he had Iman Shumpert there yesterday or the day before. Great work because we like to hear him talk basketball. You see KG there, another guy when he's calm and he actually talks about basketball, some of the business of it. It sounds great. And Ian Begley asked that question, how the streaming audience is counted and reported. So it gave me pause for cause. And I said, how is that shit reported? How is streaming calculated today compared to the Nielsen ratings from back in the day? And the Nielsen ratings was what they used back in the day to calculate TV ratings for different shows and stuff. And they make you feel like you missed out. And there's a lot to this. Measuring viewership has changed fundamentally because the currency of the industry has shifted from live ratings, who is watching right now, to total engagement, how many minutes were watched overall. So here's a little breakdown. Big data approach used in 2025. The core metric is ratings versus minutes, right? Back in the day, ratings and shares, ratings were calculated as a percentage of the total TV owning population. If a show had a 10 rating, it meant 10% of all households with a TV were tuned in. That was a snapshot of a specific time slot. 10 minutes today. Today, the minutes viewed compared to the back in the day rating share. So today, minutes viewed, streaming is measured by total minutes viewed. Instead of saying 10% of people watched, platforms report that audiences watched 12 billion minutes of Stranger Things this month. This accounts for the fact that one person might binge 10 hours in a day while another watches one episode a week. So you see the difference here already. A 10 rating from Nielsen back in the day, a 10 rating meant 10% of all households with a TV were tuned in. Today, they measure by minutes. And this is important because it's minute by minute. And we can get to how, if they just said NBC, Peacock, Amazon, ESPN, Disney, all these guys. That's more than one person you're getting this streaming data from, and these are all the companies that were all auctioning off a bid to have the rights for NBA rights. Moving right along, the data source panels versus big data. The old way is with the Nielsen box. So Nielsen relied on a relatively small panel of roughly 40,000 households who had special meters attached to their TVs. They extrapolated the behavior of these few thousand people to represent the entire country. So look again, the old way, the Nielsen box. Nielsen relied on a relatively small panel of roughly 40,000 households who had special meters attached to their TVs. And that's where they got the information from a few thousand people. So these Nielsen sound scans and the ratings were based on a few thousand people, 40,000 people. And now imagine it's billions of us on our phone watching all this stuff. So it's very weird to even think about the fact that they didn't even have a way to come up with the ratings for people when that antenna was going through our window from our neighbor's wall. If you know, you know. That was the old way of doing things. Now the new way is a hybrid track. In 2024, 2025, Nielsen shifted to a big data plus panel methodology. They now combine their traditional panel data with return path data from over 75 million devices, including smart TVs like Roku, Vizio, and cable set-top boxes like Comcast. This provides a much more granular look at exactly what is being played on screens. So the old way, most important number was live plus same day. If you didn't watch it when it aired or on your DVR, you didn't count it for the advertiser. Light bulb. The new way, measurement now focuses on live plus 7 or even live plus 35 days because streaming content lives on the platform indefinitely. A hit is no longer defined by its opening night, but by its long tail, how many people keep discovering it months later. Obviously, you would have thought that somebody was measuring this back in the day to be able to say this show should get this amount of ratings or this amount for this advertising slot in the first 10 minutes, like First Take, let's say. First 10 minutes, that first break from First Take, they make the most money off that. ESPN, Disney, and all that. And after that, they auction it off however they do. Super Bowl, same thing with those commercials, right? And that's going to be interesting with the Super Bowl because back in the day, they were using 40,000 households to measure that. Now with streaming, it's so much data, but again, so much competition within the guys bidding for a spot with these advertisers. This is the key thing right here that really was like, really? Direct server data, the black box is what they call it. One major difference is that streaming services, Netflix, Disney, Amazon, have their own internal perfect data. They know exactly when you pause, skip, or rewatch a scene. The conflict, these platforms often refuse to share their internal first-party data with Nielsen. This is why you sometimes see a discrepancy between what Netflix says as its number one show and what Nielsen says. Nielsen's The Gauge report says. So you see already the old school dudes, which is Nielsen, No Country for Old Men. They're sitting there like Clint Eastwood trying to shoot somebody off their lawn, but you can't compete with Netflix, Disney, Amazon. Roughly 15, let's say 12 or 13 years ago, Facebook and Apple took over like the top 5 most valuable stocks or companies in the tech world or on Wall Street in general, most valuable. And that was significant because ExxonMobil had exited. It was crazy to see ExxonMobil leave a top 5 list, right? Because it's a tangible thing with oil, and tech is so intangible. It went from hardware to software. You ain't selling computers, like what are you really selling? And now, 15 years later, Netflix is one of the most dominant companies out there. And what's tangible about that? So it's just on your phone. These are the top leading streaming companies that there are. YouTube is at 12.9%, remains the number one overall distributor of TV content. Disney's at 10.5%. That's ABC, ESPN, Disney Plus, Hulu. Paramount Plus is at 8.9%. They surged recently due to the NFL on CBS and the series Landman on Paramount Plus. NBC Universal's at 8.8%, which is Peacock. They saw a massive 22% growth this month thanks to Sunday Night Football. And Netflix is here at 8.3%. Despite being a single app, it rivals entire media conglomerates. So you see Netflix is going up against these other guys, YouTube, Disney, Paramount, NBC Universal, and they're just one app. YouTube has a whole bunch of stuff. That's the Alphabet group. It's known as, I don't know if they're formerly known as Google, but they're just also up against, you know, TikTok and Instagram. But for Netflix to be doing this is amazing. And along with the fact that Netflix and Paramount are currently at odds, they're at war with negotiating or bidding for the Warner Group. They're negotiating for, because Discovery sold it off. So they got the Warner stuff out there. HBO Max, the HBO content is being auctioned off. So you see Netflix, they had the Logan Paul fight, or Jake, whatever his name is, fighting this guy, got his ass whooped by Anthony Joshua, got dropped. It was great. It was great theater, cinema. So this is significant again because the Knicks, Orange is winning. They're the league's biggest attraction metric. You can point to these specific numbers here. So Christmas Day, referencing Kevin Garnett, what he just said a little bit earlier. Christmas Day of last year, 2024, the Knicks versus the Spurs opener averaged 4.91 million viewers. That was the most watched Christmas Day game in 13 years, since 2011. And the 2011 season is significant because that's when they had the strike season and they opened on Christmas Day, if I'm not mistaken. So the Knicks are a part of 2 days in back-to-back years with the Spurs, with Wemby, coincidentally, where now they're taking this to another level. Now we're introducing a new flux of fans and viewers with the NBA season when it matters most. And Paul Pierce and KG hit it on the nose for me. Maybe it was incidental, maybe it wasn't. But I love hearing KG hearing that, or KG saying that, because damn, you won the NBA Cup, and it is December, right before Christmas. I didn't even really think about it. But the NBA going up against Netflix and the NFL on the same day. You know, they had Beyonce there last year. So this is heating up. And to me, this is showing how the Knicks, honestly, use as business. Our fan base, they know we're crazy. We're gonna go watch. We're the ones that are helping push the popularity of the NBA, of course, along with Wemby, of course, along with still Steph Curry's around, LeBron is still around, and it's dope just to see how the Knicks are really a part of history. AllBall TV. They scared, but I'm not. They don't like comentario.
Y suscribe.